Hey everyone, this is Akrias from Akrias Gaming at Twitch TV. I am here with a Dungeon Defenders video. I want to start off by saying I've been playing Dungeon Defenders for a very long time. I have 1,300 hours on record to this date, 9/17/2013. If you've been playing as much as I have, you've come to realize that as you start off, you're going to be looking for builds for maps that you just can't seem to get through. Uh, your your builder doesn't have the right stats, or you just don't know where to place your towers, and you found yourself online looking for these builds, and you'd go to places like DD Planner, and if you've had my luck, which is pretty bad, you haven't really found a lot of things that helped you, or it seemed very confusing, and it just wasn't much help. So I'm gonna actually show you. I'm gonna have a series of videos. Today I'm gonna start with a Alchemy Lab Nightmare Hardcore mixed mode survival. I'm actually starting this on wave 21. Given my stats though, I can start later. It's no big deal. I just like to start around there for the mana. Um, let's jump right into the game. So here I already have everything built. Um, when the game starts, I usually go for the chest that's right here, and I immediately start going into placing my magic missiles. Now, I have four. The first four I place here, they're going to be facing that way. Now, I want to be sure that they're able to attack anything that comes up here, as well as anything that comes over here, and anything that flies over here. So I just have 4 towers for that. Now, if you don't have crazy stats like I do, maybe you want to put another 2 facing that direction. I don't find myself doing that because sometimes I feel like the 2 extra ones here will just be hitting a wall. But during the game, I'll notice they'll fly over it and go ahead and hit the ogre that's attacking the wall. The rest of them, you just want to be facing all the same direction. You want them to strike that entire area. Anything that's flying over here, anything that's going to be coming up here, and anything that's going to come into view as soon as they hit this point. So as for auras, I always place them right in front of the crystal, as close as I can to the crystal, and everything's affected by the buff beam that you can't really see at the moment because all the minions are covering it. So the auras are pretty big. I think my aura monk is 4K aura radius. Now this is, of course, everything not upgraded. You should be fine. If you have 2K aura radius, it should be fine. Now these walls you don't really need. These front walls you don't really need. I do like to put walls in the back because sometimes the kobolds will get through, explode, and it does actually hit the crystal, which is quite annoying. I've tried using the Eevee walls over here. That doesn't seem to work because the explosion radius still seems to hit the crystal. So I've just resulted into using these apprentice walls. Now, if you're going to use the apprentice walls, you also want to be careful because they can, some units can still slip by. So what I like to do is I'll place the wall and I'll just run into the corners and see if I can slip through. If I can slip through, then I want to replace the wall. If you can't slip through, then you should be fine. Now for the minions, I like to stack them all. I like to bunch them all on top of the magic missiles. It's not too hard to do. What you want to do is when you're summoning minions, you want to just summon them just outside, like right around here. And when you're looking down on everything, you just tell them to run past it. Like I'll tell them to move here, and then right when they get on top of the beam, I'll click on the tower so that they stop moving. And then I'll just keep doing that. You can fit a lot on here. Let's see, I got about 10, 12, 13, roughly 13 archers and a mage. As for the buff beam, you shouldn't have any problems with the buff beam. However, it could be a problem if you don't bunch up your magic missiles real tight. You want to be able to place your Eevee in a position where they can place the beam. Let me see, I'll jump on the Eevee for a moment. Put them in a position where they can... I got no mana. Because this is all going to be one beam. You don't really have a whole lot of room to work with, so you want to squeeze as many magic missiles as you can together, and then just create one large beam from one end to the other. You shouldn't have any problem getting all the magic missiles. If you do, you'll just have to start replacing them. Now when all that's done, what I like to do before I start the game is I'll go ahead and start upgrading the buff beam. Let me make sure that my minions stay in place here. So I'll start upgrading the buff beam first, and during the game I'll start upgrading the auras. Now because of my stats, I don't really need to upgrade the towers or the minions. However, if you have something along the lines of 2k stats, you would want to upgrade those as soon as possible. Auras are always a priority, for me at least. I like to get those maxed as soon as possible, and then I'll start working on the towers. But before the game even starts, since I have all this free time, I'm just gonna go ahead and do the towers first, because I can just do the auras mid-wave. For upgrading, I like to use my my genie. It just makes things a whole lot easier. I'm gonna go ahead and hit G so you guys can see everything in action. This works for me. I do have several builds for this. One involves a lot of fire towers, but I can't really do that because a lot of people complain they can't see anything. So let's go ahead and start this up. So during this phase, I'll just be looking to upgrade all my auras as soon as possible. I'll jump in the middle here so I don't get hit by any spiders while I'm upgrading. One thing I did forget to mention is the auras. I do use the slowing aura, the strength drain, a healing one because a lot of the people that join my games do not have amazing gear, so I would like it if they stayed alive. And the lightning one, that one too. But that should be all for auras. I like using my Jester with the Genie to upgrade, just because I move a lot faster and it helps me get the upgrades out there a lot quicker as opposed to me using a different character. Alright, now the auras are done. Now because of my stats, like I said, I don't really need to continue upgrading. However, if you don't have the stats I do, which at this point I have like 5k, almost 5k, tower damage, and 3k Twr Attack Rate. If you have something like 2k, you might want to start upgrading the towers. I prioritize the buff beams, and then auras, and then towers. I almost never upgrade my minions because I really don't care if I lose my minions at all unless they're standing on a buff beam. But for here, I know I'm not going to be losing the minions because of all that protection that they have around them. But yeah, that's my build. Last thing I want to note is you do want to place your wall, if you're using the apprentice walls. You don't place them at the bottom of the stairs. I've had some bad luck where the explosion does hit the crystal. I like to put them actually on the stairs. If you lose your wall, it's not a big deal. I mean, you could always just stand there and hold the position. But the front walls you don't really need, especially if you have my stats, you don't really need it. But yeah, that's about it. I have a whole bunch of extra DU. What I could do is just put some reflection beams and make a little AFK spot for me, but I'm not going to do that. So yeah, that's my build for Nightmare Hardcore Mixed Mode Survival. I'm starting this at wave 21. Current stats on my apprentice is roughly 5k damage. I suggest 2k damage for your apprentice if you're using an apprentice for this. For auras, I'm pretty sure 2k is fine as well. Always put your points, at least in my opinion, always put your points into the aura radius. Strength isn't really a big deal unless you plan on using your lightning aura a lot. I really don't care about my lightning aura. It is doing pretty good damage though at the moment. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, this tutorial explanation on Nightmare Hardcore Mixed Mode Survival Wave 21.